All right. Welcome everybody to LinkedIn Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, October 15th, and we are going to be talking about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results with Locke Alderson today. So with that, please note that this event will be recorded and the recording may be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Comments in the Zoom link chat window do not appear in the recording. So in Zoom, you can use the chat box to enter in questions. I will be moderating the call that we can ask Locke throughout his presentation today. And to give you a little bit of background about Jeff Morris, he founded Career DFW in 2008. He attended a meeting in Washington, D.C. in 2012, and then he saw the greater need to help other job seekers nationwide. He started CareerUSA.org in 2012. He also wrote the book, What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. If you ever run into him, he usually has a couple of copies on hand. Also, you can buy it on Amazon. He's led the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007, and he is a member of the PIT Crew, which is a practice interview team, since 2017. As for me, I'm your guest host until Jeff comes back to host the calls, and I am also a job seeker. So I will enter my information in the chat so that you guys can connect with me as well. As for our LinkedIn Tuesday presenters, we have 4 different presenters that come on in the month that talk about how you can help drive recruiters to your profile and improve your LinkedIn profile. So we have Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemotter. Also, what you'll notice on the calendar is we have, as you know, our LinkedIn Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, there is the PIT Crew, and that's the interviewing team. And then on Fridays, we have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, and that's at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. For the practice interview team, it is in person on the first, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. It's in person at the Christ United Methodist Church in Plano, Texas. On the fourth Wednesday of the month, it is on Zoom, so you can watch it there. Also, for Friday, we have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This week, we're having Clayton Stockdale as the presenter, and he is presenting on making a career pivot. So if you or somebody you know of are looking to make a career pivot, please join us on Friday. So you may know or you may not know, but we do have 2 different groups on LinkedIn, Career DFW and CareerUSA.org. We have over 15,000 members for Career DFW, and we also have our CareerUSA.org. So please join those. And then also we have the CareerUSA.org on YouTube, and that's where you're going to see these recordings. You would want to click on playlist and then click on view full playlist, and then you will see a list like this that appears so that you can watch the other pre-recorded sessions. Just so that you are aware, Terry Sullivan's sessions are not recorded, so you will not find his sessions on YouTube. Also, if you aren't receiving emails about our workshops, you can join the Career USA mailing list. You can scan this QR code that's on the screen right now, or you can send an email to Career USA subscribe at groups.io. Please note that Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we have no full or part-time employees. We survive on donations, so please consider making a donation when you get your next job. If your new company makes matching donations, we are registered, and if you do not see us listed, let us know who they use. So before I hand it over to Locke, I'll tell you a little bit about him. He is a retired professional and executive recruiter. He was a senior recruiter at Oracle from 2006 to 2010, recruiting and hiring Oracle and Siebel CRM consultants, managers, and executives. Prior to joining Oracle, Locke was previously a principal recruiter at Siebel from 1998 until 2006, where he recruited Siebel CRM consultants and managers. Locke began working with those in job and career transition in 2001 while at Siebel, something he continues to do today. And so with that, I will turn it over to Locke.
Thanks, Patty. I'll try and do the screen sharing. And we tried this out and we aren't working with it.
I see your desktop, and over to the right, I saw a little bit of your presentation.
On the right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, do full screen there. Yep.
Slideshow from the beginning.
There we go.
Well, thanks, Patty, for welcoming again. We're trying, hopefully we've solved one of the problems this week and this month. Last time we couldn't get it to work at all, so I did it from my LinkedIn profile. But this week I want to share that with you. As Patty mentioned, I spent 42 years in recruiting and HR with a number of companies, Oracle and Siebel being the last two. Although I was with Lee Heck Harrison and the company that they bought out, which was Mullen International. And that started in 2013 and lasted for about a little over 6 years. So I've been working with people, as she mentioned, since 2001, when our church established a program like that. And because it is church oriented, because that's who I am, again, I look at verses of scripture for encouragement. And this is a verse from the Old Testament in Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, plans to, and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. And I know when I've been job hunting, that's what I needed, a hope for the future and plans to prosper me. And again, part of what the job hunting process is all about is what our pastor gave him a sermon about a couple of weeks ago, is about job hunting as a relationship in real life. And part of that relationship is two factors, I guess, that you can say. Part of it is showing up. And for that, you're on LinkedIn, you're trying to get found on LinkedIn, your profile, and then opening up what you've done and how well you've done it. So that's what we're trying to help you be able to do today. And kind of an overview of the presentation. Again, question to ask yourself is, why are you using LinkedIn? Are you using it for networking? Are you using it as a job hunting tool? So that's one of the things that you want to ask yourself as we go along and you use LinkedIn. If your goal is to be found by a recruiter on LinkedIn, does a search, and when they search for somebody with your background, do you show up? And that's what we're going to address today. So the first part of the presentation deals with your LinkedIn profile. Again, LinkedIn worldwide, there's probably close to 1 billion users on LinkedIn today. Again, it's one of the most important tools in a recruiter's toolbox. And I know with about 1.5 million recruiters that are actively on LinkedIn at any point in time, again, it's part of that process. And one person who found a job with LinkedIn commented, LinkedIn has been an irreplaceable tool in my job search. The ability to show employers the exact experience and skills that I have in my profile is what ultimately led me to get a job. And I've had that same testimonial from people that I've helped with their LinkedIn profile. So that's one of the things about LinkedIn. So what we want to try and cover today is your profile, your headline and open to work. And again, some of you may not be using open to work and you probably should be. Your dashboard, and maybe you may not have looked about that. And importantly, your about section used to be called the summary, but they call it about, and in Microsoft Infinite Wisdom as they manage LinkedIn. Your professional work history is just basically your resume, and then your skills and endorsements. Those are important. And how do you go about optimizing your profile so that you get found? And then the other side of the coin, we're going to take a look at how recruiters search and how you search for jobs, how you can assist yourself in doing that with job alerts and using filters, and then a checklist of things for you to do as part of your homework. So what are you doing to attract the attention of hiring managers and recruiters? Again, how frequently have you looked at your profile and asked that question? Well, the first impression that you have or that you give to recruiters and hiring managers is vitally important. And the first thing that they see, it all starts with your profile. This happens to be an older slide shot of my profile. You can notice a background or a banner picture there, as well as my headshot. Again, the headshot is a decent one. That's one that my wife took against a neutral background. You could do selfies if you want, but make sure that there's no glare for your glasses. And if you're looking at me on the screen now, you know that I do wear glasses, so I take them off when I'm getting photographs. And again, one of the things underneath your name is your headline. And if your headline is the only thing somebody sees about you, what does it say about you? What's the impression that it creates? Does it address what the recruiter cares about? And then the open to work section under that. In this case, I've opened it up only to recruiters. Again, that's one of the options that's available to you. Another question that you need to ask yourself is, how long has it been since you've updated your profile? And I don't mean a major rewrite or remodeling of your profile, but how long has it been since you've changed something on your profile? Adding a comma, as we used to say with resumes and the workshops I taught on resumes, adding a comma or taking away a comma. So how long has it been? And think about when you go to the grocery store. Again, a freshness guarantee. If you look at the produce in the produce section, you can squeeze a tomato, and if it's soft, you probably want to leave it alone. If an apple has some bruise marks on it, you probably don't want to select that one. Again, I know I have some apples I got out of the refrigerator last week. One of them had a bruise. I think I may have dropped that apple when I brought it home. Again, that's something that you want to look at. Milk also has a freshness date best used by, and so do meat in the poultry section. So those are some of the things that you can do to take a look and make sure that you have a fresh resume. Again, going back to your profile, you have 6 to 10 seconds to get my attention. So what do you see on my profile? You may notice the banner shot. That's a shot of the Caribbean on one of the cruises that I went on. You notice the open to work banner is there from about 5 o'clock around to 9 o'clock. You notice my name and a short headline there. That's an older version of the headline that uses only about 120 characters. You now have about 220 characters. You notice below that there's where I live in Plano, Texas, the number of connections I have, and my contact information. Below that is the open to work and see. It's open to all LinkedIn members. That's an option that you have, and we want to touch on that. But LinkedIn is a powerful platform for job searching, networking, and career management. Creating a strong profile will boost your career and help you to land that dream job that you have. You want to use the name that you're known by. My actual legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. So when I get those marketing calls from the telemarketers and they ask, they can speak to John Alderson, I ask them which one. And if they say John Alderson Sr., and I say, well, you're about 20 years too late. He passed on in 1996. So that's one of the things that you want to make it easy for that recruiter or hiring manager when they address you to call you by your name. It makes it just a smoother transition, okay? And also in your headline, you want to put what you're looking for, because if you don't fill in your headline, and most people are aware of that, it's going to default to the last job title that you had. And that may not be the job that you're looking for. The other thing about your profile is you want to have a complete profile. Having one gives you all-star status. I used to have a pie chart. It shows how much you'd filled out on your profile. The top rating is an all-star. I never got above 95% on mine. But you want to use a professional headshot and probably a background or banner photo. And there are banner photos available. Headline, use the job title or titles of the position that you're looking for. Open to work, it's under your headline. You can list additional job titles, up to 5. You can also list some other information about your location and your willingness to do that. Complete your about section. It's an overview of your career, and you want to make sure you use keywords from your profession. And again, we'll find out about those in a little bit later. Your contact information. If we're not first degree connections, it's vital that you have your contact information somewhere where I can find you. A good place to do it is the first line of your about section. Some people include it in their banner section, in their banner photo. Your experience section is your job titles. And if you have an unusual job title like Member of Technical Staff 2, and as a recruiter, I've seen that more than once, you want to use what's the generally recognized title as you look for jobs, okay? Because that's important in parentheses. And use a description of your duties and the results. They don't have to be anything long. You want to keep your paragraph short. 4 or 5 lines is about as much as you want to have on any one paragraph before you have a break of some kind. You want to list the skills from your profession. If you don't know how to do that, I've added something that I picked up. I think I picked that up from Ruth about how you find skills, and there's a short way to do that. In endorsements, people that I've seen a lot of don't keep their education current. They mention when they got their degree, but they don't mention the professional development courses that they may have taken. And there are some professional development courses that are now available on LinkedIn, and you can get certifications for those. And lastly, you want to have some recommendations from coworkers and former bosses. I asked somebody yesterday for an update, for a recommendation for me. But those are just some of the things to having a complete profile that you want to talk about. So does your headline really tell who you are? Again, you want to use some job titles there because that's what recruiters search on. Does it identify what you do? And is your headline a grabber? Okay, and we're going to take a look at some headlines. I've simplified this and put them all on one page. So let's take a look at some headlines. Nothing wrong with words like unemployed or retired. They're probably truthful or seeking new opportunity, but they don't do you justice. Likewise, formerly a vice president of finance. A better one is experienced design engineer seeking a new opportunity. That gives a little bit more information to the reader. Again, if somebody were in media communications, a social media strategist, content manager seeking a new opportunity with print and digital media, public relations, marketing, and corporate communications. The supply chain one is kind of succinct. Supply chain, procurement, and purchasing. You notice that I've used a pipe character there with a space on either side of it. You can use a backslash as well, but don't have supply chain / procurement all together because it won't be searchable as a term when the recruiter or hiring manager is looking for somebody. And that pipe character is a shift key above your enter key on your keyboard. Again, you can use abbreviations like GL I mentioned or VP. Those are generally recognized ones, but again, if you have one like some of the professional associations that you're a member of, you may want to spell out the first time. ITIL or Scrum or Agile are all words that IT recruiters are well familiar with. General manager, manufacturing and aerospace, while succinct, it also pinpoints who this individual is. Who said manufacturing experience, aerospace engineering at a managerial or an executive level.
So, Locke, just talking about this a little bit, I've
Okay.
seen some people's headlines where they say X Google, X Amazon, so forth and
Okay,
so on.
those are keywords that people want to have because that's a pedigree. Those are sought after companies. So if you put that in the headline, remember your headline is one of the first things that people see. Okay, they're going to look at it for 6 to 10 seconds. So if you're ex Google, they may look further and see what your Google experience consists of. So yes, I would include that. If your company is one of those sought after companies, or you've worked with Amazon Web Services, AWS, again, those are the kind of companies. Or if you have artificial intelligence, AI experience anywhere, you want to put that up there in your headline. Again, you now have 220 characters up there to play with, and Microsoft bought LinkedIn. They've upped it from 120. So these are just some sample headlines that we can take a look at. There's something called a headline generator that you can also add words like accomplished, award-winning, engaging, and use titles that can be found on LinkedIn's list of titles. Again, if they aren't titles that can be found on LinkedIn, it won't allow you to use them. Okay, but this headline generator, if you want this slide deck, this is included in the slides. Just send me an email at lockealderson@gmail.com. Be happy to send it to you. Okay, here's a look at my headline. If you're taking a look at it the first time, you notice down there at the bottom is something that you can check the strength of your headline using that headlines@sharethrough.com. The first time I did it, my ratings were about 75% for an overview and 50% for the impression. When I changed it a little bit, and this is the changes, as you notice down there, a little bit more descriptive. Again, the impressions went up from 50% to 75%. So that's kind of important when you want to do that. Here's some more headlines that you can use. Again, notice that these are more descriptive headlines, increasing productivity. It gives some amplification to what the person has done. There's some results, specializing in expansion of international business in the aerospace sector. Okay, those are the kind of things that people look for. Full stack applications developer using SQL or sequential query language, Java, and AWS. It should be AWS, not AWWS. I apologize for that. I have to correct that the next time. So, and here are some focused headlines. So you can use words to describe it. Systems analyst using digital indexes to reduce hospital administration paperwork by 54%. That kind of savings is something that's It's well recognized and regarded by those in the hospital healthcare industries because cutting cost is a major emphasis for them today with Uncle Sam limiting the amount of reimbursements that they're doing. So those are just some headlines that you can use that are available, how you can modify it. So let's move on. This is another verse of scripture that I've tossed in. You will be kept in perfect peace, those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord himself is the rock eternal that you can depend on. You can maybe remember the Prudential Edge with the Rock of Gibraltar in there. So why use the open to work thing? You can notice I've got that open here, and it allows you to notice down there in the open to work box, but it's at the bottom. I've got 5 job titles that are there. And you can click on that. Somebody's about likely to click on that to see all the details. Well, let's take a look at that. These are the kinds of things that you can add. As you start to add titles, again, I noticed I had professional recruiter and executive recruiter. I start to add a career. Those are some of the drop-down items that drop-down menu items, artificial intelligence that you can choose. It allows you to choose now because some people are used to working remote. Again, a lot of companies are saying back on site, but there are jobs that are hybrid jobs where they work in the office 1 or 2 days a week and work remote the remaining times. I'm interested in Plano, Texas, because I'm not going to want to travel. But if you're open to relocation, this is one place that you definitely want to put it. If you want to add location, or if you're open to travel. And likewise, your starting date. This is activity that recruiters look at, the so-called low-hanging fruit. If I find somebody that's open to work and actively seeking a job right now, they may be one of the first ones to call if they match by criteria on other categories.
So Locke, let's talk about this page a little bit
Okay.
because at the bottom it says choose who sees you're open. And it says you decide if you only want recruiters or all LinkedIn members to see this. And I think we need to clarify for folks about what they mean when they say recruiters, because it is only those who buy LinkedIn recruiter package.
The check's in the mail, Patty, but I'll talk about that. Recruiters only means those recruiters who have elected to purchase the LinkedIn software. There's a LinkedIn recruiter package. It's $10,000. It's $5,000. No, it's $10,000 a seat per year. LinkedIn Lite, which limits it to candidates in the United States, which is about 180 million right now, and that's the Recruiter Lite. I know recruiters that have both of those. I've used either one of those. I never did use one of those when I was with LinkedIn. So there's a lot of recruiters that don't do that, and that's one of the reasons that you want to have your contact information in your About section, the top line of your About section. Okay, clarify that, Patty? As I said, the check is in the mail.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Another section that you may not have taken advantage of is your analytics page. When you go to your analytics page and it says analytics, and this is a snapshot from me in last November. Notice that they had post impressions. There were 255 people that had an impression of something that I had said. Maybe it was a posting that I had in the last week. 101 profile views that had actually taken a look at my previews, and 60 search appearances. The goal is to have the search appearances, okay? Is what you want to do on that. Another area that you can use on that is your featured section. This one has my presentations. I need to update this again, even though that's because most recently I've done a lot of these presentations again. But you can list your presentations. If you're in motion graphics, like my son, you can have a portfolio there. If you're in advertising, you could have a portfolio. You can also post your resume there. The only problem about posting a resume there is it may not be tailored to the job that you're looking for at a particular company. So that's the only thing that I want to say about that, okay? Presentations that you've made, postings that you've done, articles that you've written are all things that you could include with that. Let's take a look now at the About section. This is a long summary, and usually I don't recommend a summary being this long without breaking into 2 paragraphs, but it's a particularly well-written one. Notice the first thing about this at the top of the box is the email address. It doesn't say contact me here, but the implication is this is how I can be reached. It also uses an acronym, FP&A, which a lot of financial and accounting recruiters know what that is. It's financial planning and analysis. And having recruited those for over the years, that's the way I had it. Notice he's mixed in the use of bold with regular type fonts. Okay, and this was a person that into it. And he received, why they didn't spell that out, break that a little more clearly, received Intuit's Financial Recognition of Excellence Award. Again, so this is a person like that. Contact information is there. You want generally short paragraphs of 4 to 5 lines. And basically, this is your 30-second commercial, if you will. Bulleted accomplishments can also be added. As I said, I'm surprised they didn't receive the Intuit's Financial Recognition Award as a bulleted accomplishment. Here's some other sample resumes. Another thing that's being done now with LinkedIn profiles is that they can be in first person. Generally speaking, you don't want to write a resume in first person. But this one, the first example, I'm grateful as a partner from world-class and winning companies in executive coaching and leadership development. The key competencies are executive coaching and training, additional relevant experience, Disney World. Another one, I'm a strategic, creative, hands-on marketer with a passion for opportunity technology. Okay, again, you can use different ones. Again, try mixing them up, try changing them, because one of the things about the freshness guarantee, if you go in and make some minor changes to your profile, and I did some to my profile yesterday, and it's been up for about, the original one went up about 15 years ago. So you want to keep them fresh. Moving on to the experience section. This is just a highlight from my profile itself, and notice that it's got the Oracle icon on there. If you've worked for a company that has an icon, LinkedIn will be happy to include it for you. Notice also that you want to have your job title, the company names and dates, your duties and responsibilities. Again, wanting to keep it to 3 to 5 lines so it's easy for the reader to understand. Again, it has a couple of bulleted accomplishments there. Twice selected as recruiter of the quarter. Selected from among 50 recruiters to attend the annual convention for the organization I was supporting. And then a note from the director of recruiting in North America when I left Oracle in 2010. Those are the kind of things that you can include in your profile. And notice the bullet, not bullets, but they're asterisks there. I don't know whether they've changed the editor in LinkedIn where you can use bullets or not. Part of this was a cut and paste kind of situation from taking it out to Word and then pasting it back into the section. Again, another thing, notice the accomplishments that I mentioned are right there. Again, those are the kind of things that get people's attention that say, hey, this person has got some things that they've done as a recruiter that stand out. Another thing that you want to do with your profile in your experience section is to add some things to your profile. In my profile, I've got my volunteer experience is included in the profile itself. But again, you may want to have a whole section with volunteer experience, and I've seen that. For those of you who are not working right now, you definitely want to include a profile listing for what you're doing as a job hunter. And let me show you what that looks like. This one was for a software applications developer looking for full-time employment. Company, rather than the company, he lists the industry that he's looking for, and the location he starts to fill in as he starts to type in Dallas. Notice that there's a Dallas County and Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's also a Dallas, Georgia, and a Dallas, Oregon, so you have to be careful about that. This one is for project, and as a recruiter for Oracle, I used to get a lot of resumes that had project manager experience, project experience in it, with a page devoted to each project that an individual worked on. So you can include some of that here with the name of the project name, if you will, as a project manager, the dates that you worked on it, and the program director, what it was associated with. So you have a chance to add additional experience about yourself in your experience section. Next year, they want to take a look at is your skills and endorsements. This is kind of important because what recruiters look for is your jobs, your job titles, and your skills. Okay, one of the things that is there, again, this one used to be LinkedIn would show 3 skills, but because it now allows you to add some other things to it, it's only 2 that are displayed actively. And those 2 may not be the ones that you want displayed. So how do you go about changing that? Okay, on the way, well, before we do that, let's shift gears a little bit. How do you go about finding your skills? This is a link up there, as you see, to Career Explorer. An Explorer that will help you to find your skills. If you don't know what they are, you can skip down. If you notice at the bottom of the paragraph, there's a word that says skip ahead. And when you do that, it allows you to enter information. Now, this is not a comprehensive list. There may be 100 different skill sets that are listed there, but this one was for a project manager. And some of the different words that are used in project manager's descriptions, like project analysis, business analysis, software as a service. These are some things that software project managers would include. You can notice how those are rated over there. As an implementation manager, software project manager, or sometimes called implementation manager. So there are different titles that you can use, and this is a way to find skills that you may have.
Locke, before you move on, can we go back to the summary? There was a question in the chat about it. Um, Somebody asked, I'm a data-driven person. Are there stats that indicate how well this performs against other tips? And what she means are,
I'm sorry,
um,
where was this in the summary?
yeah, so the tips that are being provided, I've seen things that say write out a 200 character summary. Others say indicate keyword list titles and so forth. So
Okay,
what is the best practice, I guess?
in your summary section.
Yeah, the about section,
The
correct.
about section. Okay, there now I know that it's gone up. It used to be 2,200 characters, and I played with it yesterday, and it's up to 2,600 characters. And again, when we get to that, we can take a quick look at my profile, and you can see the different formats and styles that I've used. Again, to show different things. But again, 3 to 5 lines, and then a break, maybe some bulleted accomplishments is one of the things I will strongly suggest to people.
But there's not any kind of statistical or data to show like what's better than the other.
No, I guess what you want to do is to play around with it, change it a little bit. Remember, I talked about the freshness guarantee. Go in and change some things and see if it doesn't generate additional activity for you. It may not. It's capable to go back to what you were doing before. But again, by doing that, activity on LinkedIn is one of the factors that it considers when it does the algorithm to search for candidates. So they're looking for, because recruiters want candidates who are more active in the job market. It's not necessarily looking for candidates who've been in a job for 20 years and looking to retire in another couple of years. So, but those candidates who have been out there looking at jobs or changing their profile, those seem to be activities. Those are the ones that recruiters and hiring managers want to talk to. Okay, so let me move forward again. Where were we on accomplishments? No, we're on skills. Okay. Because how do you move the skills around? As I said, you can add skills, and when you do that, that's one of the ways to go and find it. And then, as I say, if you want the slide deck, just send me an email. I'll be happy to send it to you. It's in there. But when you get that, are your skills organized for maximum impact? Again, when you get your slide and you open up, you notice this is my skills here. I have the blue pencil. When you get that at a list here, for me, it's executive search, consulting, and talent acquisition. But if those are not the skills that I want, and I have 50, and it's now up to 100, depending upon the version of LinkedIn that you have. And LinkedIn seems to roll out the changes periodically or over time, sequentially to people, not all at once. So if you want to change the order of your profile, your skills there, you notice the arrows pointing to those 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, this is what happens. It will bring up your skills in a table. And by holding your cursor over here on the 4 bars at the right, if you push down on the cursor, you can drag and drop to reorder your skills. Notice I have executive search, professional recruiting, all some of those that are on mine. But that's a way to reorganize those. You can do that as a way to freshen up your profile on a periodic basis. Again, another thing that you want to do to optimize your profile is to take a look at other people. And what do I mean by that? Is search for yourself. So in this case, I was searching for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I was doing it under the People tab. Now you find that People tab if you go to Jobs and click on Jobs, enter a job title like recruiter, and then you go over here to the Jobs tab. One of the titles that you have there is People, and you can do a people search that way as well. But notice Christine Tannehill. When I was actively recruiting, I used to be in the first 2 pages for the Dallas-Fort Worth area because I was active almost every day on my LinkedIn profile, on LinkedIn, not just on my profile. So what I did on that was to take a look at somebody's profile. Again, as a recruiter in the Dallas area, she's a senior recruiter. She's open to work. She's got recruiter down there, but she's got the newer version of a recruiter, the talent acquisition specialist, talent acquisition partner. Okay. She's also got recruiter on there, but she was one of the top ones on the list. So you can look at those people's profile, and if some of the words that are in their profiles apply to you, and they aren't in your profile, take them and apply to your profile and see if it doesn't change your rating. Okay. Moving on, we want to touch on searches today. And how does LinkedIn conduct searches? One of the ways that it does, you rescore, as I mentioned, receive a score for each section of your profile and for your activity on LinkedIn. Your search ranking is based on the sum of these values. The higher scores appear at the top of somebody's list of results. Recruiters generally look for a match of, at first, job titles. current job titles, past job titles, in your headline, open to work, about, and employment section. Those are places where you have job titles. And the more that you have them, there's somewhere else. And we'll take a look at another section of my profile, shows you how to list additional ones. Got keywords from your profile, from your profession and your skills. We mentioned how to find those. People look for specific companies, industries, and we'll look at some results of that in a minute. Education, and I know I was in a search or applied for a job where they're looking for an MBA from a top 10 business school in the country. I happened to attend University of California at Berkeley. And depending upon whose ratings you look at, they're one of the top 10 companies. Also look for geographic location. Most searches are within recruiter search 20 to 25 miles. The reason is applicants like you have taught recruiters I don't want to drive more than that to work, except for people who are maybe willing to travel or to relocate. Current and prior companies are important. Companies are important. People look at pedigree. What kinds of companies have you worked for? And if they're recognized companies, they may be important to some hiring manager as well. Then recruiters look at your summary. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Is a search from the screen that I captured from Keith Vandemotter. Keith is one of the speakers here on LinkedIn on a regular basis. He has a LinkedIn license, the recruiter license, allows him to look at the time that this was taken. Notice that there were 750 million or 710 million candidates in the search that he could do. He has the worldwide with LinkedIn Recruiter. Some people that have LinkedIn Lite can only search in the United States, but these are the skills that he can look for. There are 3 data input screens like this. He can narrow that 710 million people with a good search. He can narrow it down to 30 in about 30 seconds. So that's one of the things that you can look at. This is the result of a LinkedIn search. This was for a product manager. I think this, product manager. And they were looking in the Seattle area was the preference, but would take somebody from the San Francisco area. And we'll also consider people with product marketing background because product management and product marketing frequently overlap to a great deal. In this particular case, you notice that there were 6,900 candidates. 2,900 of them have, or 2,500 of them have to actually follow the company and engage with their talent brand. Okay. Moving on to the next one. This one was for a project manager in Chicago. And they were looking primarily in Chicago, but people would take people from the San Francisco Bay Area or New York. Notice business strategy was part of the product management. They were looking at analysis. The other criteria that somebody had used were right here. This one, there were almost 43,000 candidates. Only 83 of them were open to new opportunities. Okay. So what is a recruiter going to look at? They're going to probably go after those 83 first, take a look at them. Okay. And these 904 were people actually following the company's brand, some of their advertising information. So let's talk about the next slide, talking about jobs for you. If you use the jobs tab up here at the top, it has two search options. If you go with just basically the search bar that's up here by LinkedIn, when you open your screen, you can search for jobs that way too. But looking on the jobs tab, you can have job search. You can look for jobs by title and by company, and you can look by location. If you enter a job title and don't enter a location and haven't searched before, it's going to default to the United States. So you need to enter a title like that. Okay. Moving on, this is the result for searching for a job. This was for a sales representative. By not putting any location in, it gave the United States. And you notice over here, there's almost 200,000 candidates that shows up. Any good recruiter is going to say, that's too big a search for me. I'm going to need to refine that by putting in a location, experience level, some of the other filters that you see across the top. And while we're at it, this is another one for a senior accountant in Plano, Texas, just north of Dallas. I limited the search to 25 miles. That particular description of a senior accountant is over here on the right half side of the screen. Quality assurance. I did this presentation. This is a part of a presentation to the American Society for Quality Assurance here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Notice the problem with that quality assurance. Again, it got almost 2,000 candidates, and this was managerial and senior individual contributor level. So we modified it and added the word manager, and it narrowed it down by almost 92%. Notice that as well. So that's a way that you can play with it. Let's take a look now. This is another one for an executive assistant in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. When I was working with Lee Harrison, we had a number of executive assistants, so helping them to try and find jobs was part of it, teaching them how to find jobs. And notice I mentioned that Dallas, Georgia. There's also a Dallas, Oregon. You need to select that. But Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is an area that's about 100 miles wide and probably 60 miles deep. Okay, so narrowing it down to Dallas or the cities that are there. But there are about 40,000. This one had been narrowed down by some other searches criteria as filters. This is that filters that I mentioned to you. This is an older version of the filters page. Now it just appears on the right third of your page when you do show filters. But the filters that I definitely recommend that you want to talk about and use, the first one is use the past week. You're interested in current jobs, and unless a job is one of those particular professions that's hard to locate candidates in, I would narrow it down to a week. Another thing that LinkedIn has done is picked up a salary tab from Indeed.com, and you can do some rough salary searches. So if I'm looking for a recruiter in Dallas and I only want to find a job that's 100K and above, I can limit it that way. Now the salary criteria there is not the most absolute one that you can find. And most compensation and benefits people would look aghast if you said that's a way to find candidate information. Another one that I want to touch on briefly, on some jobs you see the easy to apply. Only use easy to apply if it allows you to update a current resume. The reason that I mentioned that, otherwise it will use your LinkedIn profile as a resume. And that LinkedIn profile might not be fine-tuned or customized to what the job requirements are. But you can search for jobs by industry, by company, by location. These are suburbs of the Dallas area, and the jobs over here are the type of job. Most jobs on most of the job boards are going to be permanent full-time positions. But you notice for recruiters and software consultants have part-time and contract positions as well. Internships are usually used for people in graduate school. I know I had a friend whose daughter was at SMU, and she had an internship from Dallas, and she was with Allstate in Chicago. So that's some of the things that you could do with a filter. When you've done a filter at the well, there's a tab up here that you can clear the tabs and do that and go back to your original search. How do you go about using that for creating jobs, a job search? Well, it allows you to do that on this one for a recruiter in Plano. I could turn this radio button left to right. If I click it, I have two options, daily or weekly. Any results from this company are going to be sent to me daily or weekly, and that usually comes between 7 and 8 in the morning, and what it looks like. Okay, homework for you. As I said, complete the sections of your profile, use the name that you would normally use, make it easy for that recruiter or hiring manager to get in touch with you, either by phone or by email. Use a headline or refresh your profile at least once a week. Use a headline, use the job title or titles that you're looking for. Because if you don't, it's going to use the default to the headline of your last job title. Complete the open to work section. As I say, it gives you the opportunity to list 5 additional job titles and know that you're open to opportunities. Do list your phone number and an email on the first line of your about section. If we're not directly connected to first degree connections, I may have no way of contacting you if you have a perfect profile for my job as a recruiter. Experience sections show the results of performing your duties. Those measurable results add credibility to your experience. Keywords and skills, as I mentioned, do a people search for yourself. That kind of highlights that. And I'm going to close that one down. Come on. I made some changes to that. Can you see my screen, Patty?
Yes, I can.
Great. We worked the technology out. So I was going to show you some things about my profile real quick. I want to show you some different techniques on my profile. Okay. This is volunteer experience up here at the top. No, that's volunteer. Med Group is a volunteer experience that I have. Frisco Career Transition Workshop I worked with for about 18, almost 19 years. We did workshops 3 times a year. I was with Lee Heck Harrison. As I mentioned, notice how I've broken out so the text is a little bit different. It's not all paragraphs. Some of the skills that you highlight when you look at your skills and where you've used these skills, it allows you to show those up on there. I was at Mullen International. Again, used asterisks these are the kinds of things that I talked about. You have about 2,600 characters in your about section to do that. But I was going to show you at the Oracle, if you worked at a company that was acquired by somebody else, Siebel was acquired by Oracle, so that experience is linked together for 12 years, as opposed to 8 years at Siebel and a little over 4 years at Oracle Corporation. Okay. What we'd like to do now is open it up for anybody who would like to have us take a look at their profile. Oh, profile on mine, as you mentioned, we mentioned the About section. Pat. Okay.
Yes.
We mentioned that. Okay, the About section on mine. Where's the About section?
Right
Right
there.
there. Okay, notice I've got the contact information at the top line of my profile so that people can get a hold of me. Okay, you may want to put your phone number. Some people don't want to put phone numbers. If you don't, you can get a Google phone number that will screen your calls. Now let's take a look at people's profiles.
So
Right
who
now,
wants to volunteer? So
well, wants to
Locke
look
will
at their
take a look
job.
through your profile and let us know. If you have gone through it recently, then please let others go for it. So we have Danny Catelli or Dinesh Catelli,
Danny or IE?
Danesh Catelli.
Okay, Danny.
No, well, okay, do Danesh
Catelli. Shows up.
Ka right there. No, it was the first one, not the second one. You clicked on the second guy, I think.
Okay, spell it for me again. I'm sorry.
Danesh Catelli, that one.
Okay, we're going to look at the full profile. First thing that I'm going to do, because we are secondary connections, I'm going to look at his connections and see if we're connected. No, contact information. Okay. He has a mobile phone number, which is better than most people do. Okay. Again, we're used to dividing with a dot or a hyphen. Again, but again, that's perfectly acceptable. Okay. Okay, he's got Director of IT Operations, Global IT Cross-Functional Director. Okay. Okay, Dinesh, what are some of the job titles that you have searched for? Okay, you have.
Yeah, I've been searching for Director of IT or Director of IT Operations.
Okay. Again, I would separate and Director of IT and then also Director of IT Operations, okay? That's one of the things that you do. You have not opened up your open to work profile. Again, that's something that you could do. If you don't open it up to everybody, to LinkedIn, that's one of the options that you have. It can be opened up to those people who purchase the LinkedIn license, the LinkedIn Recruiter license or the LinkedIn Recruiter Lite. So that allows you to list at least 5 additional titles and whether you're open to relocation. So you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, okay? He does have, and he's put there his email address and his cell phone right at the top. You don't have to put cell, that's a use of some characters that are there, but notice he only has, in this case, 4 lines that show up. That's the first thing that recruiters see. IT leader, master project leader, top secret clearance. That top secret clearance is vitally important to a number of recruiters, having recruited consultants and managers that had top secret clearances. Okay, so that one might be something that you might want to have up in your headline as well. Just a thought. Services, features, a couple of postings that he's had, or looks good. Activity. Okay, and perform. Notice here he's got 2 lines to describe his duties. I have to click on see more. Notice how he's broken that up. You can use a carriage return to make it a little easier to read so it isn't as crowded together. Okay. Okay, let's take a look and notice how he's linked together his Army experience. He's got 1, 2, 3 different positions that he had as in the Army. And here, another position here in the Army is training manager. Education at Webster University out of St. Louis area. And that's their I guess it's worldwide campus that they've got. They're one, along with University of Maryland, that has global outreach on military installations. Licenses and certifications is good. Volunteer experience, notice he's broken his volunteer experience out separately. Notice his skills level. Okay, director level experience, I might choose a slightly different one. He's got 60 skills, you now have up to 100, although mine has not been updated to 100 yet. So let's look at his skills level. The manager and director, IT operations, infrastructure operations, security operations. These are all the ones he could reorganize if he was applying for a specific job as people look at it, or just reorganize them periodically as an opportunity to freshen up your resume or your profile. Looks good.
All
Okay.
right. The next person is Sheldon, Sheldon. Yep, the first one, Weinstein.
Okay. Okay, one thing I'll bring up, I didn't get a chance to do that real quick like. Okay, if you see this message there and it's in blue, you can send an email. If you send an email to somebody to connect, you always want to add a personal note to it, okay? Because if otherwise, yeah, they won't know, and a lot of those get rejected. And if it's a white message, you can click on, I'm gonna look at his as well. No, so I could do that. So I'm going to connect. Okay, I'm going to go back and not do that right now, Sheldon. I will connect, I promise. Okay.
You're already connected. It says your first degree connection already.
Okay, so we're already first degree connection. Notice he's packaged goods, consumer packaged goods. Okay, he doesn't mention it's a VP sales, director of sales, sales team coach, building high performance teams. I've never searched for a building high performance teams. Something to think about. Customer relationship builder. Yeah, business development. Those are all open to work, a VP of sales, sales director, national sales director. Okay, he didn't put regional sales director or sales planning. Those are some other ones. He's in the Cincinnati area. Okay. He's got his email contact address. I would put that on the first line rather than the second line. You would put it on a line where it stands by itself. Okay. Again, these 3-4 lines are what people first see. Top skills, sales functional leader. I want to look down at his skills. Here's a time when he was at Pinnacle and a couple of jobs that he had there. Sounds like he was a vendor to Walmart. He was in Bentonville, Arkansas. Okay. He's got a volunteer experience where you can do things like volunteer with Boy Scouts or other camp, a camp counselor. Skills level, broker management. I didn't see broker management in his headline. Okay. Consumer packaged goods. Again, he's got 61 skills. But if the job that he's looking for are not CPG, okay, broker management, I would have understood broker management because he was probably selling into Walmart. Consumer packaged goods, strategic sales leadership. I've never searched for strategic sales leadership. It's important criteria that somebody has it. But what are some of the things that people look for? What are the titles of the jobs that you apply for? Remember, those are the titles that you want to have in your skills and put those at the top. There's a blue, it's a black pencil out to the side over here, which allows you to do that. And those 3 dots, if you click on it, will allow you to rearrange those. Looks like a good looking resume. Other than that, do we have somebody that might want to look for a job?
Yes, there are other people that want you to look at theirs, but I guess we can do
Let's
job
take a look
search
at
now.
them. Okay.
Stacy Provo, so it's STACEY, and then Provo, PROVO.
Right there, the second one on the list. Okay. Again, the message, I'm going to view full profile. We're first degree connection, senior content marketing manager. Okay. GTM manager, that's a term that's not new, that's new to me. I'm not familiar with it. Senior marketing manager, product marketing manager, digital marketing manager, open to connect. Okay.
I
She's
believe GTM is go-to-market.
okay. Well, I learn something new every day. Okay. Senior marketing manager, again, you've repeated some here, some of the things up here in your headline, you repeated some of those down below in your open to work. Okay. And those are some of the people that she's linked in. She's got over 500 connections, something that you want to do. Her highlights, she's worked with artificial intelligence. That's a current buzzword that people look for. And I didn't see it, AI, in your headline. Might be AI cognizant or familiar or something up like that in your headline. Might be something to consider, Stacy. Again, I would put something about your contact information at the top of your about section. Some people have it down at the bottom. You've used approximately 500 characters. You have 2,600 characters to play with. Okay. I would break some of those out. What are some of the highlights that you have as a senior marketing and content strategist? Okay. She's not done a nice job of doing that. And those are short paragraphs to look at. Content management, strategy, marketing, those are the kind of things that people look for. Marketing director for Solex for most of this year. Prior to that was with T-Mobile. Okay. She didn't mention industries in her profile. She could do that as well. But she's worked in telecommunications. She's worked with Lumen Technologies. Was that the Lumen out of the Bay Area? There's a company called Lumen that I did some work for at one point. You know, a couple of the founders of that. She's gotten some certifications from LinkedIn that you can list on your profile as well. Those are important. I know I had to take an ethics class when I was Lee Hick Harrison. They made us take an ethics class every year and get certified in that because it's an international company and they didn't want to get caught with their shorts down, so to speak. Volunteer experience is included. She can include some of those up in her work experience of what I've done. Skills, content management, marketing, and content strategy. Again, if those are not the ones that you want to appear, because those are the first two that I see, reorganize those. Okay, Stacy, looks good.
All right, there are a few others unless you want to go to
Well, whatever we want to do, you're in charge of this meeting.
All right, well then let's go to Ryan Fish, Ryan Fish.
The MBA?
Yes.
Okay. I accepted his profile. Okay, where are you, Ryan? Okay. He's mentioned a recruiter, talent sourcer, or management professional. He's in the Minneapolis area. If that's what you're looking for, that's great. But I would have other things that talent sourcing is that you've mentioned. Okay, were you a recruiter or a sourcer? That's a big difference for recruiters. Minneapolis, St. Paul, he's open to contacts,
I
open
think
to
he
work.
needs a space between the and the or with the backslash.
Yeah. The and and the or, you need, if you're going to use that, you need to put a space on either side of the backslash. I'm sorry for I've got a call in the background. I can't shut it down. Notice that he's got some highlights, new connections, his about section. He's got his information, contact information at the top, which is great. Top skills, recruiting, hiring, and sourcing. Let's take a look and down on his activity level. Okay. Okay, one of the things I might include, what are some of the results that you've had? It started on a contract with Center Space Homes, was it builders or sales managers? What are some of the things that you've done? He was with Korn Ferry and their recruiting group. Again, what are some of the results? And I have to see more on that.
Wow, it's very big on the screen.
Yeah, I know. My computer, I touched something. I'm not supposed to do that. So I really done it now.
Uh-oh, gremlins.
Gremlins finally attacked me, Patty. There we go. We got it back. Sorry about that. So those are some of the things that I can suggest for you, Ryan. I think you've got a pretty good looking resume as you go. Again, come on. I'd work on your headline. You know, take a look at mine. Having a similar background in recruiting, you might want to use some of those words. Where he's got some good connection with Jerry Crispin. I know Jerry, and I've had him come as a speaker and do things. So again, show the details on his open to work. It didn't show his details. Don't know why, but so he's looking for on-site opportunities in the Minneapolis or remote. Actively applying. Okay. So that tells recruiters right now he's looking for the Minneapolis, St. Paul area for on-site or remote locations. Okay. I know when I was with Oracle Corporation, I was working from home for over 4 years. I think I visited the office about 6 times in those 4 years. Somebody else, or we can look at.
Yep. The next person is Chandra Thomas. That's SH.
Well,
I think you can just click on the search button. There we go. SHANDRA Thomas. There, that's the first one.
okay. Almost. He's here in the Dallas area in Garland. Okay. Okay, I've never searched, Chandra, I've never searched for a helper. Sorry. That's not one of the words I've ever used. Okay. So just remember that if you're trying to be sought, what are the titles of the jobs that you're looking for? Those are the jobs that should be up there. Teaching assistant, office associate. Again, those can be repeated multiple times in there. I give the example when I moved from Siebel to Oracle, we were still looking for an Oracle to hire Oracle consultants. I mean, Siebel consultants in Minneapolis. I ran a posting up there, had 75 responses only, and 50 of them did not even have the word Siebel in their profile or in their resume. So they were not even considered. In your case, I wouldn't know what you were looking for. You have experience in banking, proofreading, again, administrative analyst, administrative support. Again, what are some of the titles that you're looking for, Chandra? Those should be up there. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So instead of using help, what word should I use?
Well, what are the jobs? What's the title? Make a list of the jobs the titles of the jobs that you look for when you go online to search on a job board, on LinkedIn or Monster or Indeed.com.
And you should use the LinkedIn titles, right?
Okay. Administrative assistant, okay, or administrative analyst. When you search for that, it's going to bring when you look at the results of that search, some of the titles of those jobs may not be the administrative analyst title that you've used in your search. So write down those other titles of the jobs because that's what people are going to look for.
So should I say I'm an administrative analyst?
Administrative analyst.
Okay.
What are the other what are the titles of the jobs that you're looking for?
Just the titles themselves. So you don't say
The
I
title
am,
themselves.
just administrative analyst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what you
Gotcha.
have under the open to work, teaching assistant, that could be one. Office associate, that could be another, or things of that nature.
And the other titles that you've looked for. Okay.
Okay.
Since we're first degree connection, I won't look that. Again, you want your information, your contact information right here on your screen. The reason is
First line.
the first line, because if we're not directly connected like you and I are, I don't have any way to get hold of you. I can't reach you unless I could contact you through somebody else.
Okay. So I'll say administrative analyst who help.
Well, here's another one. Image review processor. Again, general clerk. Those are titles that you had. Customer service representative. Those are all titles. Credentialing analyst. search for some of those jobs and see if they come up with any jobs. If they are, those are the titles that you should be using in your headline. Okay?
Okay.
Just make a list of those titles.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We have time for maybe one more.
Okay, the next person is David.
Ah,
And the last name is Byrne, Byrne.
this one?
Yes.
Chicago. Used to be the Wrigley building. What do they call it? Something else tower now up there.
The Willis Tower, that
Willis
used to
Tower.
be the Sears Tower,
Yep.
not Wrigley
Okay.
Building.
Director, yeah, okay. Sorry, my knowledge of Chicago is limited to about 4 visits over the years. Director of Demand Generation, Data Analytics. Okay, that's a functional title. What have you done, David, with data analytics? As you data analyst, okay? Or analytics, what are the titles of the job? Campaign management, campaign manager. Again, I've never looked for campaign management. Okay, I may have looked for a campaign manager, data analyst, as opposed to data analytics. Digital marketing manager. So the demand generation manager. Good titles. Again, I'd include more titles in your headline. You've used about 120, maybe 150 characters. You've got another line or two that the rest of that line and one more line that you could use. Okay. We're second degree connections. If I click on his contact information, I have no way to get in touch with David. Okay. Well, let's look down at his about section. He's got that there. Makes it easy for me to reach out to him. He's got his top skills are digital marketing. Remember, one of the titles in the list of titles that I had were some of the other things that he's done. And he's got those. Search engine marketing. Those are all good skills that you've used. Okay. Underwriters Laboratories. Okay. The question that people are going to ask, what have you done since underwriting laboratories? You want to add a position that you're currently looking for a position as digital marketing or digital advertising specialist. Okay, and if you're looking in the greater Chicago area, that would be the title where you have, and you're looking for full-time position, like that position, like the slide in my deck. That's a way to look at that. Okay, you may also include the fact that you've worked for Underwriters Laboratories, that you've worked in the hospitality industry with. It's a good one to put in if you're interested in the hospitality industry because you were with Hyatt for a number of years. And well, Hyatt, you had two experiences. I'm surprised they aren't linked. And with Underwriters Laboratories. Okay. Question. One more. We have time for one person to look for a job.
So Laura, Laura. Camacho. That's Camacho. Yep.
My screen is jumping around like a screen. Okay. Notice what she's done with her headline, with her banner shot behind her. She's listed different things that are there. Some people like Jeff Morris have got their phone number up there. She's got talent management, HR leader, HR business partner, good titles. Strategic is kind of by itself. I'd add something to the strategic. There's coach. Business acumen is a functional expertise. Business analyst might be something else that you're looking, but I've never searched for somebody with business acumen. That's one of those things that you pick up in their resume. I've searched for strategic planners, not strategic by itself. Okay, went to Stanford and down there, are we direct? Okay, we're second degree. So I'm going to look on and contact information. Again, She's got her contact information with an email address that you can reach out to her with, which is great. Human resources, talent management. You've done training and development might be another thing, or organization development, director of talent management. In her case, she lists it at a full-time. She may not want to list that open to work for everybody. She may want to list it only to recruiters in that situation. Since I didn't see open to work up here. Again, Laura may be in stealth mode of looking for a job. I think we're about out of time, Patty.
Yeah, there were a couple of other questions that came up that I wanted to have you address really quickly.
Let's try and do that.
So somebody had asked, should they spell out senior, SENIOR, or is SR period okay?
SR period is sufficient. Okay.
Okay, all right. Someone else asked how to attract unpaid recruiters to our profile. What settings do we need to set?
I'm not sure what we say of unpaid recruiters. Okay. That's if you're talking about recruiters who are not using LinkedIn recruiter or LinkedIn profile. I mean, the LinkedIn recruiter light, again, the same criteria that you're going to use. People are going to look for your job titles and your skills. Those are the things that recruiters look for. Okay. So you take one of the things that I teach when I teach resumes is how do you tear apart a job post and take a look at the requirements. What are those requirements and how do your qualifications map on that? You can do that on a simple piece of paper, divide it in half with the requirements on the left side and how your experience matches on the right side. And then take some of that experience from the right side. What are the accomplishments that are there to plug in on your profile and on your resume?
Yep.
Okay. Other questions?
Sorry, quick check. I mentioned unpaid means the recruiter not bought the package of searching the candidates.
Most recruiters, I'd say 2/3 of the recruiters that use LinkedIn have not bought the package.
Okay.
That's right.
So that is the case. Do you want me to see my profile to everyone? Everyone in the LinkedIn on or off, something like that?
Do we have time, Patty? You're the time.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes.
Okay. What's our name?
Okay, my name is Muthu, M-U-T-H-U.
I'm sorry, you'll have to spell it for me.
Sorry, M-U-T, T for Tango, H for Hotel, U for Umbrella. Then M-U-T-H-U, then K-U-M-E-R, space.
M-U-T-H-U.
Space K-U-M-E-R.
And then he's at one that's 6 down, Muthu Kumar.
This one?
That is the one, correct.
Okay, we got lucky. Okay, view the full profile. Senior manager, IT service delivery. Okay, director of IT infrastructure management. Okay, good. Open to work. What are the titles, Muthu, that you actually look for? What are the titles of the job? Those are the titles that should be in here in your under your name and your headline and down in the open to work. What are the titles of the jobs that you're looking for when you apply? And when you do a search online, it may not be the title that you put in, but those titles that come up on the jobs that are shown, that title is somewhere in that job posting. Okay, he's got his information in connecting with him on the top. He's currently with Dell and Dell Technologies. Came out probably one of the other groups was in consulting as well. Cognizant. Okay. I would go with some of the highlights of your experience at Cognizant. What was the biggest single thing that you did at Cognizant as a senior manager of service delivery? So amplify what's in there with something that you did. You know, one accomplishment for each of those things, because that's what people pay for. What have you done in 6 years, almost 7 years at Dell Technologies? You know, what was the biggest project that you worked on? Okay, that's what people are looking for, because you don't give a lot of definition. Remember that this is like your resume. You have in your experience section, you have 20 on your about section, you have 2,600 characters. In your experience section, I don't think there's a limit on the characters. Patty, I think we're out of time.
We're out of time. I know that there were some other questions in the chat, so
People,
certainly.
still have questions, lockealderson@gmail.com. If you want the slides, I'll be happy to send them to you. Have a specific question, I'll try and address the specific questions as well.
Yep. Well, thanks so much for your insightful presentation and looking through all of the different profiles for everybody today, Locke. I think everybody appreciated that. And
We
hopefully
made a
you
smoother day today.
computer gremlins. So
Yes.
again, please save the chat by clicking on the three dots next to the title. If you have Windows 10, on the down arrow caret at the bottom. If you have Windows 11, so that you can network with others, and hope to see you on another LinkedIn Tuesday. And so next week I'll have Kurt Vandemotter on, who will be presenting how he finds people through LinkedIn Recruiter. So hope to see you then. So with that, I will stop the recording. Have a great day.
Thank you.